Hello and welcome to Create the Flow. I'm Monica Freeman, host and founder of Monica Freeman Studios and Unewell. I am here to guide you in aligning with your soul's purpose, trusting your inner voice, and building a life that you truly love. You were born with a purpose, and your intuition already knows the way. Hello, my love. Welcome to the show. I just got off of a call with a client, and we were talking about embodiment in business. And I had to come on to the podcast and include this into my show because this is one of the most powerful gifts that really transformed my business. If you are new here and you have not been listening to the podcast for a while, first of all, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I've been seeing a lot of new listeners lately, so I want you to know I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. If you're not familiar with my story, I was at the seven-figure mark in my business when I had experienced somewhat of a dark night of the soul. I thought at the time that this was just going to be temporary. It was going to last maybe a couple of weeks, and I was just going to take some time down. And that actually ended up being where I decided to kind of reset and start over. It was really hard for me because I had employees at the time and lots of clients, and I had multiple homes and I had all these responsibilities. But for my health, I intuitively knew that what I was doing was not working. And at the time, I did not realize it was because I was not actively embodying what was aligned with me authentically. And that's really why I want to bring this to the podcast today, because a lot of times we are living inauthentically. And we don't realize it because we've been conditioned to think there's one way to do life. So if society has conditioned us to believe that we are supposed to go to work and work for somebody else and work a 9 to 6 and make a certain salary by a certain age, we become accustomed to that and we think that's normal. Well, now add social media into the mix and entrepreneurs, because a lot of you listening to this are an entrepreneur. And now you're comparing yourself to what other people look like, what their businesses look like, what their strategies look like, what their accolades are, what their age is in relation to how much they're making. And you start to doubt yourself. And that's when you start to have all of this unconscious belief deep, deep, deep down come up in ways that you don't even realize. So for me, what happened was I experienced severe anxiety. And when I thought I was just going to take, like I said, a couple of weeks down, it ended up being nearly 2 years. And during that time, I really did so many somatic practices. I went internally to try to heal my root chakra and that safety and stability and really find alignment within so I could tap into my soul. I don't like to get too woo-woo on these podcasts, but there's a part of the way I help my clients build their business where I actually help them find their unique value in the market. Because we are living in a time where so many people are entrepreneurs and every market is saturated. And if you do not have your own unique message, your own differentiation, people will never find you, because telling somebody that you can help them build a sustainable business, or telling somebody that you can help them lose weight, or telling somebody whatever your skill set is, whatever the transformation is you offer, is now just considered noise. It's just vague because people have already purchased programs and services and products from other brands doing the same things as you. And they're still unhappy and they're still looking for help. So now you really have to build that specificity in who you are and how you serve them. But the only way you can really do that is to be fully aligned with your authentic self. So when I went through my dark night of the soul and I really had to recalibrate my nervous system and heal, it was in that journey that I really dived deep into human design and deep into astrology. Astrology is a little bit unique for me because I've been obsessed with this since I was a wee child. Human design only became something I've been interested in the last 15 years, but truly only actively practicing in the last few years. So for me, this was all new things that I wasn't fully even aware of how to implement into my own embodiment until I practiced them. Now, the reason why I bring all that up is because a lot of times when you are not teaching from lived experience, so that personal wisdom that you have, it doesn't feel authentic to your consumer, so whoever your dream client is. Because if you haven't actually walked a mile in the shoes of the person who is going through that now, you're not speaking their language. Your messaging is not connecting with them. That's why it's really important to double down on your unique value proposition. Whatever makes you unique in your niche and differentiate yourself, and not try to be a copycat and not try to do what other people are doing, because when you embody your most authentic self, that's how you're going to feel the most aligned. When you're not embodying your most authentic self in business, you start to feel burnout. You start to feel like a shapeshifter. So you start to look around to see what everybody else is doing, and you change your brand messaging and you change your brand identity and you change your content, and you start to really kind of become mutable because you're able to change in any situation to become whatever you think the market needs instead of being really grounded in who you are. What we don't realize is we don't give enough power to us being the brand, the voice, the message. People are going to buy you before they ever buy your offering. And what I was telling my client is she has a tendency to not see things happen fast enough. She has purchased from people in the past. She's a new client working with me. And we got to the core of what's happening below the surface, like those subconscious beliefs, because if you don't do the shadow work to really heal those deeper layers, when things are not happening fast enough, or when you are presented with challenges, or when you feel like you're on a deadline, or when you have so much noise, because we love to congest ourselves with all the external world and what's happening outside of us, those things are going to create dysregulation internally. And that's when you start to see yourself doing things where you start self-sabotaging. And I know this, and it was easy for me to detect this with her because I lived through this experience. That's why I brought nervous system work into my business. That's why I incorporate human design and astrology into my business with my coaching clients and with people who are in my programs, because we're not all a one size fits all. And we don't all have one personality type and one way of doing life. We have so many levels of intricate things that are happening from our conditioning, our upbringing, our joy, the way we were designed to work, the things that actually get us excited, our knowledge, our wisdom, our lived experiences. All of that ties into who you are and how you show up online to market your business and how you actually attract your consumer. For anyone listening to this who feels like they are absolutely confused about what they offer, what their unique value proposition is, how to stand apart in the market, how to really own their space, I would challenge you to get clear on who you are. Spend some time understanding the smallest things, things like your energy. We all know when something feels really good to us and when something doesn't feel really good to us. And human design is a beautiful place to start with that. You can actually get a free reading, so you can get your chart on my website, and I will link that below for you. Go ahead and play with that. Really assess that and understand that. But go deeper than that. Start to ask yourselves questions. Ask yourself, do I like one of the services that you offer in your business? Or is your course aligned with you? Do you still feel like that feels good for you? Do you feel like the target market you're marketing to is the right person? The way you're creating content is the right way to do things, the way you're showing up, the daily tasks that you have, your emails, maybe you have a mastermind, maybe you're hosting retreats, maybe you're building a product, maybe you have a community. Whatever it is, start to get clear in what actually is keeping you lit up and excited and what is draining your energy. When we live in embodiment, we have to release the things that do not serve us. And it's really a gift that we can do that, because when you start to remove things, because most of the time we think when something's not working, we need to add. We need to add another service. We need to build another course. We need to offer another thing. We need to add, add, add. And unfortunately, that's going to create burnout. That's going to cause you to live in a place that doesn't feel aligned. You're not going to want to create content. You're not going to want to show up. You're not going to know how to market it because it's going to be overwhelming. Now, there is a place for everybody. Some people really thrive under pressure, and some people are meant to have multiple different offerings, and people are all different. So, if that doesn't sound like you, do not put pressure on yourself to be that type of person. It's really about discovering who you are and what makes you different. And when I did this, I went deep into my business because I used to offer high-end six-figure services. It was exhausting. I loved making a six-figure month. Don't get me wrong. It was a blessing. But the amount of work that went into that, the amount of time I was giving to my customers, because when you're paying that much, people want 24/7 access to you. So I always had to be on. I was always burnt out. I was always working. I didn't have any free time, and I never felt joyful. So that's when I learned that was not aligned with me. Taking on six-figure clients and working the way I was working was actually burning me out. And that's why I cracked under the pressure and had to take a nearly 2-year sabbatical to rebuild, to heal my nervous system. Now, I don't do a lot of done for you work. I will help you learn how to market your services and build that out. But I now teach people directly one-on-one or in masterminds or in retreats, or they take my programs because I know that's more aligned with me. And you really have to assess what's aligned with you. During, like I said, my sabbatical, I went deep into identity work. That's where I really went into my human design and my astrology to really figure out how I work best in the world. And that shifted everything for me. I mean, honestly, knowing what my soul's purpose is and what I actually came to the world to do and create and how I'm meant to show up shifted so much internally, because it made me stop doubting myself or thinking something was wrong with me because I had so many different interests or certain things burned me out more than others. And it also explained why I'm somebody who cannot just do things on a whim, fly by the seat of my pants like I've always lived. I'm somebody who needs more routine and more structure when it comes to business. So there's just so many things that are so exciting. And I think I might actually share an episode that is geared toward human design and astrology, specifically in business, to give you guys an idea of what I'm speaking to, because that is something that I teach my clients, all of them. And they love that, and that helps them because that really helps you get to the core of your identity. And in doing that, you start to discover either things you already knew and questioned, or things that you didn't even know that you had subconsciously hidden. All of this shadow work that we get to unlock and work through. And that's what I did. I did a deep cleansing of this shadow work in my healing sabbatical so that I could regulate my nervous system. And that's how I was able to build an aligned strategy. It didn't happen overnight, but when you start making one small step to live in alignment with what feels good to you and you show up from embodiment, it's so, so different. You position yourself in the market just from that because you have your own unique wisdom, whatever that lived experience is, whatever your story is, you have that. All of that education, all of that knowledge, that is you. And the beautiful part about that is that gives you the unique advantage point that you have in the way that you speak and the experiences that you have. So instead of trying to teach something or coach something or build something that is completely foreign to you that you have no interest in, but you think it's going to make you money, really dive into where your knowledge and expertise and experience live and how other people maybe are struggling with that and how you can benefit from that market by bridging that gap. And then also think about when you're speaking in your unique value proposition, like your unique experience, how you help people achieve the transformation that you help them achieve. For me, you all know I help people build holistic legacies, but I do that because I help them discover what makes them different in their niche, what makes them stand out with their unique value proposition so that they can build a legacy around that, because that's what makes it feel easy and effortless. And that's what builds legacies that stand the test of time. If you're building something that's burning you out, there's no way that's ever going to be a legacy. There's nothing holistic about that. And for me, I have to build a holistic legacy because of everything I've been through. This is my mission in life. This is the thing that sets my soul on fire, and it makes me feel good when I can help other people do the same. So today, really think about the way that you are making decisions in your business every day and what feels like it's draining your energy versus what is giving you energy. And if it makes it easier for you, get a piece of paper, fold it in half, make a list of 2 columns, draining and lighting you up, and really figure out where you are leaking energy in your day to day. And if it does happen to be a service that you offer or a product that you offer or something that you are married to, because a lot of us, we think because we're making money doing something, we have to stay with that one thing. Really consider the thing that actually lights you up, that brings joy into your life, and reinventing that thing or changing that thing altogether. It's okay to pivot and to shift. Knowing when it's the right time to do that is really crucial. So I challenge you to get to the core of that first. And then ask yourself, am I showing up from that embodiment every day, from my lived experiences, from my authenticity, from the things that really feel good to me, without trying to be like everybody else, without chasing trends, vanity metrics, without thinking about money, without trying to copycat, without shape shifting? Am I truly being uniquely myself? I have to be honest. I shared an episode a few weeks ago about human design in business, and I left it a little bit vague because my audience has never really heard me speak about human design, and I didn't want to be too aggressive for people who maybe don't even know what human design is. And it was a little scary for me to share that because I haven't ever really talked in depth about human design. And now I want to bring that more into the podcast this year and more of the astrology that I've learned from in my podcast this year. Not to necessarily market myself as an astrologer or a human design expert, but more in the sense that I want you to be able to find your business expertise and the right strategy and systems for you through these external tools that really know so much about you, and they are so powerful, and they have changed my life. So for me, it's through my lived experience that I'm sharing with you. But I also know that there's a part of that if you don't feel comfortable with visibility and you feel afraid to be seen, you might be holding yourself back. And that's what all of this is about today. That's what this embodiment is about. It's about stepping into your true authentic self, into your highest self, into the person that you came here to be, without judgment from the external world, without concern for anybody but your soul and who you are here to serve. So today, I hope this kind of longer than usual podcast helped inspire you in ways that you can really detach from all the noise and the clutter and the things that are leaking your energy and step into that full body alignment and really be empowered to show up as your unique self, because that is your unique value proposition. And again, if you want to get your chart, you can go to my website, get your human design chart. Email me if you're curious about your astrology. I'd love to help you with that as well, because there are so many beautiful tools that these modalities give you access to that really shed a lot of insight into who you are, who you came here to be, and how you perform best in your business. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you'd like more information, you can follow along on Instagram at Create the Flow Podcast or find me personally at Monica Freeman. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend.